Welcome back to the podcast where I'm Duran,
And I'm Mike.
and this is Before We Forget. So, Mike, you got a question for me?
I do. So, Duran, do you think there should be a 3-month rule before you have sex?
Nope.
Damn, you answered that quick.
Yep, sure did. No hesitation. No.
Why not?
Because I'm a believer that if something's gonna happen, it's gonna happen naturally. Me waiting 3 months and me getting the punani now ain't gonna make no difference. It's just gonna be more feelings attached to it. It might add some more feeling in the stroke, but other than that, it's the same
But
thing.
shouldn't there be feelings attached to it?
I mean,
You shouldn't just be throwing out punani to people you ain't got feelings for.
Well, first of all, I'm throwing down Chico stick and getting punani, but I'm saying it ain't gotta have no feelings attached to it. It is what it is. It's a carnal thing, and that's a big word. It's a carnal thing. It ain't like I'm sitting here telling you, yeah, I'm fine. I ain't about to whisper no sweet nothings to your ear. You know what we here to do. And if it happened naturally, you gonna feel that automatically. It's not something I need to do. It's gonna happen. Like I always say, it's a given. Sex is not a gift. It's a given.
Right. But
And so I'm not, if it happened in 3 months, cool. I'm not in a rush. So I'm not saying that I need to have it immediately, but I don't think it should be a 3 month rule because what's going to change? I could put on the front for 3 months.
a lot could change because, yeah, you can put on the front for 3 months, but how many people are actually willing to put on the front for 3 months?
Oh, plenty. We've seen this.
Say that.
We've seen this time and time again. Men are real good actors.
Hold on.
We'll play a real
You talking about
role.
men from our
No,
timeline?
I'm talking about men.
But men nowadays, they don't want to wait 3 months when they can go get it in 3 weeks, if that.
Right. So I'm saying that just adds more fire to what I'm saying because I'm just saying it in a different way because I ain't got to get to it. But if it happens, it's cool because I believe it can happen, like I said, in a natural way. But 3 months is just crazy because you putting a timestamp on it for what?
So
what?
here's my thing. I actually support the 90-day rule. And here's why. Because I feel like a lot of people are out here giving it away to people that they don't really know. They think they know it, right? And then they are they are giving it away during times of honeymoon. And then the honeymoon fades. And then it's like, oh man, I wish I never would have done this. I wish I never would have done that.
And
then that is in a lot of cases a stain in your mind of you accidentally gave it away to the wrong person. But then when you do meet the right person, that person ends up having to pay for somebody's mistake before them.
But you could pay for the mistake regardless if you wait 3 months or not. So here's how I'm gonna debunk that whole thing. So if you lay down with somebody or you go and you have intercourse with them, it don't matter if it's the same day or if it's 3 months from now because you can't get to know nobody in 3 months.
I do think you get to know somebody better in 3 months than you do in the same day.
You do, but you, like I said, just because I said naturally don't mean it's the same day. I'm just of a kin belief that if it happens, those are one of the things I can akin to vibing. So if we jump out and do something that's just doing something, I'm not gonna be like oh, I'm just out here trying to get it and that's it, because that's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is just chill with you, and if we so happen to get to that, we get to that.
Look, I think 90 days can establish a lot of things. It can establish habits. It can establish things that you like and don't like about a person. It can even establish if you want to talk to this person long term or not. And so I don't think a week necessarily can do that, because you can like everything about somebody in a week and never see a flaw. You can go on one date and think this person is amazing. And then by date number 2, you'd be like, you know what? I actually don't like this about this person. Or this person reminds me of my ex, and I was just in such a phase of wanting somebody that I gravitated towards this person because it's what I'm used to, but it's not what I actually need. But if you gave that up on the first date or after a week, then I feel like you're just falling in the same habits that you fell out of. And I think a lot of times sex clouds mind and judgment.
It does, but first off, you shouldn't be out here trying to do that anyway, because then, first of all, you just said a lot by saying a little. You talking about feelings, you talking about them taking their feelings out on somebody else because they had a bad experience with this person and so forth. First of all, you shouldn't even be having sex in the first place. If you in a state like that, you should be trying to date and then just keep it at dating. And you shouldn't have nobody that's lusting after you like that because that's something that you can see. And I said people can put on the front because I, it don't matter if it's the generation that we grew up with or right now. I still see the same thing every day. Some men is just gonna be men. Every man hear the same thoughts, had the same pressures. It's just some people fall victim to them, some people give in, or some people just commit to what you hear in your head.
Right.
You don't got to do that. So I'm saying I ain't one of those people that just do something that pop up in my head. But what I do is if it happens, it happens. And I'm gonna elaborate because that don't mean like, oh, I'm out here having a good conversation with XYZ and I'm gonna just go out here and splack friend and I got a whole family at home. That's not what that means. I'm saying if I wasn't married and I was just talking like how we talking and I go walk up to a woman, we talking whatever, and then it leads to that and that happen, cool, obviously. Then that point it becomes, you use protection, don't use protection, blah blah blah. But I ain't gonna be like, oh, it's 90 days, so like it's a rental. Like in 90 days, it's gonna happen. We got 2 more months left.
No, but see, I really think that 90 days establishes a certain timeline. Like realistically, even in like my relationship, me and my wife did nothing for the first 90 days. And that was something that we both established, but that was something that I was pretty firm on as well.
And y'all didn't do nothing until y'all
Nothing.
got married, because that's what good people do. And
Yeah.
he's a good man.
Praise God.
And he didn't do nothing. They just looked at each other and you could feel the feelings through the eyes.
We barely even kissed. We kissed in prayers.
Exactly.
No, but like we established that rule where we could really get to know each other, right?
Right.
And a lot of people gonna be pissed at me because they're like, "Oh, we're adults. We could do." You're adults. You do what you want. I'm not judging you if you do or don't. But I'm saying that in a lot of situations, especially nowadays, people rush into thinking that sex is going to keep somebody around. And if that was the truth, then that person wouldn't be single. If she had good, and he had good, what, and it was that great, and that's what determined them standing around, they wouldn't be single. But the thing is, they single for a reason, and that's because either they weren't compatible. We go, take it back to the first episode. Either they wasn't compatible, there was no chemistry that was built at some point, or they rushed into it and realized that they were not the people that they thought they were.
100%. But then you got to think too. I'm not thinking of that if I just met you.
But why?
Since we throwing,
what are you thinking of when you first meet her?
Let me finish. So since we throwing wives into the situation, when I first met my wife, I didn't have no desire to do any of that with her. I literally just wanted to be her friend. That's it. And I was rejected horribly for that. But I still kept.
You rejected my boy?
And I still kept my quest, and we was friends, and I was her friend for the longest before we actually started dating. And within that time, I had some issues. I came with baggage, and so you already know how the story unfolded. But I'm just saying I didn't come into it with that because it was a natural thing. It was not something that I was seeking after. So people jump into things seeking or having this thing. So I'm not saying don't have for 3 months, but I'm saying I could care less for 3 months because I know me and I know what it feels like to naturally just be involved with somebody,
right?
Not to force.
And that was a natural thing for you where you started with friendship. So you weren't necessarily worried about the sex aspect of it all. But a lot of people go on these dates with the realization of they want a man or they want a woman, and they don't place that barrier. I feel like there has to be some guidelines around it of I'm not doing this until this is met, right? And a lot of times the standards are what they like. People can pretend to have the standards that you want, but it's harder to keep that up. It takes 21 days to form a habit, right? So if somebody can keep up something for 90 days, Either they're super dedicated or that's who they are. And
People
you're
ha-
going to see flashes of who they really are within that 90 days.
people have done that though. If you watch these murder series and stuff, some people kept up stuff for years,
Yeah.
and other people had no idea.
But in the real world, like that's not majority, that's minority.
It is minority, but I'm just saying, people can be easily fooled. And as we've gotten older, I've learned I've come to an understanding that people are stupid and they fall for less. And it's not even just saying something crazy. Like I've literally seen and watched people walk into something that was so obvious. It was no point in me telling you, because it's like saying that your floor is brown. You know it's brown, and somebody tell you it's white, and everybody believe the floor is white. And I'm
Y'all can't see the floor, but the floor is brown.
like it's crazy.
It's a wood floor. But here's what I'm saying. I think in a lot of things, in a lot of relationships, people actually see the red flags. They just either ignore the red flags or they think they can fix the red flags.
Nah, some people legitimately be fooled by the dumbest thing ever, and that's what causes people sometimes to keep doing it, because they can't believe they got away with it.
But here's the thing: like when Andre come home with lipstick on his collar, and he smelled like some woman's perfume, and you go, "Oh, what's that?" "Oh, my coworker gave me a hug goodbye because she was so thankful that I helped her with her car, and she got lipstick on." Like
Some
it's
people will
stuff
believe.
like that.
Some people will believe that
They
though.
don't believe it. They don't pay attention. They make excuses for the red flags, but the red flags are there. They recognize it. They just make excuses as to why. And then when it all comes down and they've reached their limit, then they're like, "Girl, I knew the whole time. I just da da da." Or, "Man, dog, I knew she was doing this. I just da da da." He out till 4 a.m. at the club, and that's okay with you? And he's supposed to be in a dedicated relationship? She out with her girls till 4 a.m. at the club in a relationship?
I mean, I get that, but at the end of the day, I'm still sticking with, in 90 days, it don't matter if it's 90 days or tomorrow, because I don't think it should be a 3-month rule, because we not establishing nothing.
I just
and then
think
based off of us saying that it takes 5 years to fully know somebody, if we gonna put rules into it like that, man, I'm putting years on that. I'm not finna be doing that with you and be messing around with you, because I got better stuff to be doing.
The years necessary. So we still want to understand that people are human, right? And there's still the human aspect of the needs of it all, right? And most people, as much as we want to say people should wait till marriage, or that's what the Bible says, most people are not waiting until marriage. There should, I feel like, be a time limit, and I feel like 90 days is very minimal time limit when you really look at it, to see habits that you don't want in a spouse, or to see habits that you do want and feel like I can work with this or I can deal with their flaws or not.
Right, I get that, but we talking about, should it be a 90-day rule for sex, not compatibility or love.
Yeah,
I'm not
because I
looking
feel
for
like
that.
sex should be determined off of everything else. It shouldn't just be, "Oh, I want to have sex with you, so I'm gonna have sex with you." I feel like if you don't see any future with this person, then why are you giving them that part of yourself? Because you're sharing mind, body, spirit with them, even if you don't think you are.
Right, but like I said, when you doing that, that's a carnal thing. So that's something that's like you doing it. It's not something you doing for feelings or something that you doing
for
that.
us. For men, it's a carnal thing, but for a lot of women, it's not.
Right, but that ain't on us. It sucks to be a woman, huh?
It is. It is.
So
Okay, future. It is. It is on us, because we are given a piece of ourselves and leaving that with every woman that we've been with. Right. So when we do that, we're leaving behind a piece of us, a piece of our legacy with them. And is that legacy going to be a positive or a negative legacy?
That is, but on the same token, you shouldn't even be having sex anyway. So it shouldn't even be
you keep saying that.
It shouldn't be no 3-month rule, because
you keep saying
that's
that
gonna
you shouldn't.
because we
But
don't,
like I just said,
you got an ultimatum. Your ultimatum is we're not having sex or it's gonna happen. So which one you want to do? Them the only two choices you got.
That's not the only two choices, because as humans we have a choice of when it's gonna happen and how it's gonna happen. Right? We can't just say it's happening. So whenever one person wants it to happen, it's gonna happen.
That ain't natural. If I want it, then she don't, because then that's called a case.
No, it's not necessarily that she don't want it. It's that she's setting up standards and guidelines for when it's going to happen. And
So,
it's saying if I don't truly feel like I know who you are within this 90 days, if you're not opening up and providing me with what I need emotionally or mentally to feel safe giving my body to you, then why would I do that? And vice versa, because it's not just on the women, because I feel like as men, we should have that clarity as well, because yes, we want to have sex. Yes, that's a part of what we want, the carnal side of us. But if we are not strong enough to say, I want to get to know this woman and make sure she has future potential as a wife, then why am I giving my dick to her?
but in the same token, and we wrapping this up, is that if I'm doing something with you and we talking about all this stuff, at the end of the day, it's something that's gonna happen naturally. It's not gonna be something that I plan out or something to happen. And I'm gonna say it ain't gonna be no 3-month rule for me because I'm not about to do nothing with you for 3 months if we trying to go that hard. I don't feel like I even know you or comfortable enough. I barely even decided enough if we really even messing with each other. How many times have I seen you? How many times is what? I could just be just taking you out for a cup of coffee and I ain't seen you for about a couple weeks or something. So we got some in between time. So I ain't going with the 3-month thing. I don't think it should be a 3-month rule. I just think you should pick. You got to be hot or cold. Either you want it or you don't want it. And if you don't, then we got to figure that thing out so that you don't end up with these broken people.
Well, y'all let us know what y'all think. Should there be a 3-month rule before sex? Like, comment, subscribe, hit up the comments, let us know, and we'll catch y'all on the next episode.